Carson Wentz is officially out. Season-ending surgery. JJ McCarthy is officially QB1 for the rest of the season. But what do we need to see from JJ McCarthy for these next 10 games? What do the Vikings want to see from JJ McCarthy for the next 10 games? What do you want to see from JJ McCarthy for the next 10 games? I'll give you my 5, and we'll talk about them on the UP.
I don't know who I am. Can I say?
Powered by Riverside FM.
Man, with the things that are going on with the Minnesota Vikings, there are a lot of things to kind of be down about. You know, we've gone over several of them for the past couple of days, but I guess there's one exciting thing about what's going on with the Minnesota Vikings right now is that JJ McCarthy gets a chance to play. Everything that we were excited about during preseason now comes back into play because JJ McCarthy, for all intents and purposes, is going to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings for the next 10 games. So that is going to give us an opportunity to see what we need to see from JJ McCarthy, man. And I'm pretty excited about that. You know, we kind of wanted to see him during preseason, didn't play in preseason, had the first 2 games, wasn't great, but he had the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears that gave a lot of Minnesota Viking fans hope. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, great comeback against the Bears, great fourth quarter. But what do you want to see over the next 10 games? I've got 5 things that may differ from your 5 things, but it's things that I think we need to see from JJ McCarthy, things that I want to see that I think are paramount for JJ McCarthy. Number 1, no more injuries. I want a full 10 games from JJ McCarthy. And again, I think KOC is going to have to flip the script because there's no quarterback that is going to be 100% healthy if they play a lot of games and play a lot of minutes. So I'm under the expectation that JJ McCarthy is going to get dinged up. I mean, anything can happen. Look at Carson Wentz. He hit his hand on a helmet on the pass. Stuff like that happens. JJ McCarthy may tweak some things. He's going to have some bumps and bruises. So I think KOC is going to have to go back on his original philosophy when it comes to JJ McCarthy, that he's got to be able to be 100% and get himself out of trouble and all of that stuff, blah, 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 blah. I think he's going to have to tweak his philosophy a little bit because my expectation, especially with a guy that's as mobile as JJ McCarthy and some of the issues that we have with our offensive line, I just think it's safe to say that over the course of 10 games, that he's probably going to get dinged up a little bit. And so JJ McCarthy is going to have to play a full slate of 10 games. You know, I'm in the LeBron camp. Remember when LeBron went to Miami? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. I want to see JJ McCarthy play all 10 games for the Minnesota Vikings. He's missed too much time. Again, didn't play last year, doesn't play in the preseason. We need a whole body of work to be able to analyze and see when it comes to JJ McCarthy. This is what I want to see over the next 10 games. I want to see him be semi-healthy and be able to be relied upon to play, because now there are the whispers out there. We're not talking about the QB whisperer, but we're talking about people that are looking at the Vikings, analyzing the Vikings. There are whispers out there that JJ McCarthy is injury prone. And the only way you get rid of that tag is if you play. So I don't think he's injury prone. I don't think JJ McCarthy is soft. I think if JJ McCarthy had anything to do with anything, JJ McCarthy probably would have been playing by now. But as I called him, the bubble boy, it's the level of protection that the Minnesota Vikings are giving to him. Now all bets are off. They've got an undrafted free agent as a backup, Carson Wentz, season-ending surgery. So JJ McCarthy's going to have to step up and play when he's hurt. Not injured, but play when he's hurt. And I think it's very important that he sends the message that I'm not a crystal chandelier, that I'm not fragile. He's got to show some toughness going down these last 10 games, something I want to see. Second thing I want to see the fourth quarter JJ McCarthy. The fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears, JJ McCarthy was a dog. I saw an interview with this old high school coach where his high school coach was like, I wasn't surprised at all that he came through in that moment. I want to see more of those moments. I think the Minnesota Vikings fans need to see more of those moments. His teammates need to see more of those moments. UP Nation, Skull Nation, Purple Gang, we need to see more of those moments from JJ McCarthy. We don't want, everybody's making a big deal about the 8 quarters that he played. Everyone's saying the verbiage is 7 bad quarters, 1 good quarter. We don't need the 7 bad quarters anymore. Although this is going to be a roller coaster ride where there are times he's going to look good. There are going to be times where he looks bad. We just need to see a smattering of that 4th quarter JJ McCarthy, man. That was awesome to watch in that moment coming through. We've had so many quarterbacks like, Kirk Cousins and guys, I can go on and on and on. Sam Darnold, guys that have not come through in those clutch moments. So it was great. Everything that we had heard about JJ McCarthy in those moments, he came through. We need to see more of. The third thing that I want to see, UP Nation, Skull Gang, Purple Nation, is that everybody talks about the chemistry between JJ McCarthy and Jordan Addison. It seems like every time those guys get an opportunity to play together, they perform. There's a lot of production between those two. There seems to be a lot of chemistry between those two. I want to see him develop some chemistry with Jets. I think that's important, man. I feel like Jets has been kind of on the outskirts of this team and the offense, and JJ McCarthy, he's putting up numbers. But some of these numbers are not great numbers. They are like, the bubble screens. He's not making those big plays. He only has 1 touchdown for the year. And as classy of a guy as Jets is, he's not going to cause a lot of rumblings behind the scenes right now in his career. But here's what and he's not a diva. He's not a diva. And he's not a me first guy. I think he's proven that over the years that he's been with. But here's the thing, man. When you work as hard as Justin Jefferson has to get to the point where he is, I don't think anybody, think about your job, think about your career, man. Nobody wants to sacrifice legacy. And Justin Jefferson is no different. Do you think Justin Jefferson has come out several times and said, I want to be the best. I want to be the GOAT. I want to be the best wide receiver that played. You have guys like Randy Moss and Chris Carter saying that he's going to be the best Minnesota Viking wide receiver ever. His stats up to this point seem to back that up, that he's on the trend to be the best Minnesota Vikings wide receiver ever. Do you think through all this turmoil and carousel of quarterbacks that he is going to stay in this mindset? He's going to be patient. He's going to see what happens with JJ McCarthy. He's a smart guy. He understands the injuries and the predicament that the Minnesota Vikings is. But that's only going to last to a certain point. I know the fact that, and he's a team player, but I know the fact that he's only scored 1 touchdown this season, and he has been talked about and communicated about being the best, if not one of the best wide receivers in the league. Having 1 touchdown doesn't sit with him. If the Minnesota Vikings were undefeated or winning at a high clip, 1 touchdown goes down a lot easier. But because the offense is struggling, because the Minnesota Vikings aren't winning, they've got a tough stretch these last 10 games. They may not win a whole lot of games these last 10 games. If Justin Jefferson is not putting up numbers that he feel like he should put up, and he's not a focal point of this offense, and he doesn't build chemistry with JJ McCarthy, all of the rumors and the speculation that he may want out, that day gets closer and closer and closer and closer, man. Don't be fooled by the nice guy thing. Justin Jefferson is a nice guy. He's not selfish, but everybody's legacy is important to him. Think about your career, man. You're not going to sit back and just be the nice guy and not say anything and try to put yourself in the most successful situation that you could possibly put yourself in. That is going to be Justin Jefferson. So I want to see JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson build some chemistry, man. He's got it with Jordan Addison. I don't know if Jordan Addison is going to be here for the long haul. Justin Jefferson is more important. I want to see him build chemistry with Jets. The fourth thing that I want to see from JJ McCarthy, I want to see him succeed despite the play calling of Kevin O'Connell. And let me tell you what I mean. I'm in this area right now where I shouldn't say I don't have no faith. I just don't have a whole lot of faith that KOC right now, where he is as a play caller, is going to be able to build something and scheme something up for JJ McCarthy to look the way he should look, where he is now in terms of level of quarterback in the NFL. I'm just not sure about that. See, I think KOC has his offense, and he just tries to fit guys into his philosophy, into his offense, and they may not have that skill set. JJ McCarthy may not have that skill set to be consistent in what KOC wants to do offensively. So here's what JJ McCarthy needs to do. Like, he needs to know that playbook backwards and forward. And there are times when you are a quarterback where you can check out of plays. You can audible at the line of scrimmage. Is JJ McCarthy there? I don't know. We haven't seen enough of it, but if he's not there, he needs to get there. Where when the play comes in, he will be able to change into something that he feels a little bit more comfortable with in terms of what the defense is showing him at the line of scrimmage. Remember way back in the day, Brad Childress got mad at Brett Favre because everything he would call, and I'm not saying JJ McCarthy is to the level of Brett Favre in terms of experience and knowing what he is seeing on the defensive side of the ball, but Brad Childress was not the best play caller. And so anything that came in, Brett Favre was like, nope, we're not running that. Oh, you want this play? Nope, we're not running that. So there was a schism between Brett Favre and Brad Childress because a lot of the calls that came in, Brett Favre was like, man, this is garbage. And again, a lot of that came with experience. A lot of that came with Brett Favre knowing who he is, what he sees at the line of scrimmage. And I just think JJ McCarthy has to get there in terms of knowing what he's seeing, knowing the playbook, and knowing what his options are. I think the fact that supposedly now he's got two good wheels, that ankle has gotten better. I think the best way to get out of some of these predicaments that KOC may put him in is to use his legs, go off platform, look at things, extend plays, get out of the pocket, don't take those hits, don't take those sacks, because plays under KOC seem to be long in developing. So these are some of the things that JJ McCarthy and his approach coming into this game in terms of preparation, he needs to get prepared for. Like, he's got to have, when he goes in and he gets up under center, he's got to have a plan B and a plan C, depending on what the play call is coming in from Kevin O'Connell. He can't be reliant on Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell shows that he puts his quarterbacks in predicaments. It's been a steady trend from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold to Carson Wentz to JJ McCarthy the first couple of games. Like, JJ McCarthy has really got to feel that. He's got to feel that out, and he's got to be prepared. Because KOC is going to call the game the way he wants to call the game. KOC is a stubborn guy. He doesn't seem to either have the aptitude to be able to change right now in his career, or he just doesn't want to change because he's stubborn. So the game plan and the offense is going to look the same on Sunday versus the Detroit Lions. And I think that's going to put JJ McCarthy in some peril. It's going to put him in some peril. So he's got to prepare mentally to say, this is what I'm going to do here. If this doesn't work, and be as successful as he possibly can, despite KOC's play calling. That's what I want to see these next 10 games. Last but not least, my fifth thing is I want JJ McCarthy over these next 10 games to develop a thick skin. We Minnesota Viking fans, we are really emotional when it comes to this team. We're invested. We're passionate. Nothing wrong with that. We're invested. We're passionate, man. That's okay. People spend their hard-earned money to go down to that stadium, the U.S. Bank Stadium, support the team. Every Sunday we look forward to games. We have our cookouts. We get our snacks. We get in front of the TV, and we watch for 3 hours on Sunday. So we have the right to be passionate. We have the right to be emotional. But sometimes that passion and that emotion drives really, really extreme takes. Keep this in mind. After 2 games, people were calling JJ McCarthy a bust after 2 games. So that same emotion, that same passion is going to be there from the Purple fans every time he comes up short and every time he fails in a certain situation. There are going to be times, I speculate, where it looks bad. There are also going to be those shining moments like the fourth quarter versus the Chicago Bears. And so, like KOC has heard it over the past couple of days, he can pretend like he hasn't, but he understands the heat and he understands where the Minnesota Viking fans are on him. If things start to go south, JJ McCarthy is going to get the same sort of negativity or the same venom, and he's going to hear about it. There's no way you can stay away from it. He's got to develop a thick skin and understand that he's got to stay on course for the next 10 games. No matter what he hears, no matter what he sees in publications, JJ McCarthy seems to be a guy that is mentally strong and should be able to get through that. But he's got to develop a thick skin here in Minnesota because there's a lot of emotion tied to the last couple of weeks. People are upset with the play of Carson Wentz, with the play calling of KOC, now with the injury of Carson Wentz. There's a lot of emotion on top of everything. So there is a chance that the game versus the Detroit Lions may not turn out the way we want it to turn out, so on and so forth. And this thing could be a challenge for the Minnesota Vikings going forward, and more so a challenge for JJ McCarthy. So the things that are written in the paper, content creators, reporters, JJ McCarthy needs to develop a thick skin to be able to get through these next 10 games. See, I think this is a great way to evaluate JJ over the next 10 games. I think it's going to take another season to see the growth from this year to next year for him to really get a handle on having at least 12 games under his belt. He hasn't played a whole lot of football. He hasn't practiced a whole lot. So I think these next 10 games combined with what he does next year is going to be paramount for his development. But those are the 5 things, man. The 5 things that are really important to me that I want to see from JJ McCarthy over the next 10 games. Give me what you think in the comment. Give me your things that you want to see from JJ McCarthy over the next 10 games. I'm interested to see who's different than mine, what takes you have on certain things that you want to see from JJ McCarthy. Like, I don't want to hear, well, I want to see him lead us to the playoffs. I don't know if that's realistic. I think more things have to happen to the Minnesota Vikings to even talk about playoffs. We're talking about playoffs? I think there are more things with this team that have to happen over the next 10 games other than JJ McCarthy playing well for the Minnesota Vikings to make the playoffs. But put your thoughts in the comments, man. I'm interested in hearing about it. This is Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, UP Nation, Skol Nation, Purple Gang, I will see ya when I see ya. Skol!